When I first heard that Manny Pacquiao will be fighting Timothy Bradley in the third fight, I wasn't overly excited, to be honest with you, because they fought twice already. Manny Pacquiao won both fights, although on paper, Manny Pacquiao lost the first one and he won the second fight. So I was thinking to myself when it was first announced, why do we want to see Manny Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley 3? It's not a fight that I'm particularly interested in. And then, call me crazy, but Teddy Atlas came along and really changed the dynamics of Timothy Bradley. Because let's be honest with you, when it comes to let's be honest with each other. Sorry, when it comes to boxing and any sport for that matter, you need some kind of marketing tool, or you need some kind of strategy to get people thinking, characters. And I think that's what Teddy Atlas brings to the table. And what's interesting about this up and coming fight is you've had a tiff between Manny Pacquiao's trainer, and that's Freddie Roach, and also Timothy Bradley's trainer, which is Teddy Atlas. And it makes for an interesting build-up because, you have Teddy Atlas saying that, he was taking the mick out of Freddie Roach for taking a selfie before the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. He was saying, this fight was billed as the fight of the century, and here we have Freddie Roach taking selfies with Manny Pacquiao before they walked into the fight. And then, I think Freddie Roach, that was in response to Freddie Roach saying that, Teddy Atlas is a good actor. He knows when the lights are on, and he's just acting, and it's all about him rather than his fighter, which I don't necessarily agree with. But that's basically what's made it a little bit interesting. And in addition to that, I think that Timothy Bradley has evolved quite a bit since he's joined up with Teddy Atlas, because Teddy Atlas has really kind of cleaned up Timothy Bradley's act. He doesn't seem open as much or as foolish in his attacks, and I think he's cleaned him up and he's sharpened him up, and he's making him look like a much better boxer from the outside. I think when Timothy Bradley fought Manny Pacquiao the first time, he was using more movement, and I think that was better for him. I think that he needs to adopt that approach in this fight coming up. In the second fight, he tried to slug it out, and it didn't quite work. But now, I think Teddy Atlas has polished him up a little bit. He's not, leave himself open a lot as much, throwing, looping shots as much, staying in the pockets as much. His balance isn't as bad. Now, obviously, he fought Brandon Rios, and Brandon Rios is no Manny Pacquiao. But regardless of that, you still saw some major improvements in Timothy Bradley's game. So Teddy Atlas seems to have done a lot for Timothy Bradley in the short space of time that he's been with him. And he's also able to motivate him and bring the best out of him. And I mentioned this before about Teddy Atlas, but he seems to be a very good at psyching up a fighter and making him believe in himself psychologically. And I think that is what some fighters need, someone who's going to bring that out of them. It's not just teaching them how to be technically better or how to box and how to fight, but I also think it talks about the psychological aspect. And Teddy Atlas done a lot of this kind of thing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was the same. He there was an old interview where he said, Mike Tyson looks tough, he looks strong, but there's a vulnerability inside of him, and you can see in some of those old videos Teddy Atlas saying to Mike Tyson, you're going to be a world champ one day, man. You're going to be a world champ one day. Look at your movement. Look at how you're moving. Look at how strong you are. And he's good at that. And a lot of trainers are good at that. But I just think that Teddy Atlas has brought it to the forefront with Timothy Bradley, and that's what makes it an exciting fight. We've got Manny Pacquiao, former 8 division world champion. He's a great champion, great fighter, one of the best of our eras. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think now he's coming to the end of his career. It will be nice to have Timothy Bradley beat Manny Pacquiao, and I'm a Teddy Atlas fan because I'm a Tyson fan. Maybe it's biased, but I like Teddy Atlas, and and he brings a different dynamic to the fight. So I think that if Timothy Bradley beats him, it's going to be fantastic. I mean, Manny Pacquiao, he's still a great fighter. He can still beat a lot of the up and coming fighters and the current fighters. But he's coming to the end of his career. He claims that this is going to be his last fight. So why should he go out on a win? Do I believe he'll win? I do believe he'll win. But do I want him to win? No. I'd like to see Manny Pacquiao, as much as he's given us so much entertainment throughout the years, I think he's planning to retire. So hopefully Timothy Bradley will win this fight, and it will be interesting to see what happens. Now there was talk about why is he fighting Timothy Bradley? Maybe he should have fought Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford is the up and coming star, and he should have taken the mantle from Manny Pacquiao and then given it to Terence Crawford if Terence Crawford beat him, and that would have been the more sensible fight. And that's what I was thinking when that fight was announced. But now Timothy Bradley, you kind of feel sorry for him in a way, and you kind of want him to do well. And him and Teddy Atlas bring a very good dynamic, and they're a very good team in my opinion. So it will be interesting to see what happens come fight now. I'm really looking forward to it. Love Manny Pacquiao, don't get me wrong, love Freddie Roach, but I have to say I want Timothy Bradley to pull this one off for Teddy Atlas and Bradley. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think so, but we'll see what happens. Let me know your comments in the section below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening.